Number 9. Which function has a common consecutive difference of -6? Now, they didn't tell us if this difference is at the first or second level. So that really is, I don't know which one, if it's linear or quadratic. So we're going to have to test all of them to see. So the first one, and actually I need to try to make this a little bit smaller to save some space here. I'm going to need a lot of space on this one. It's going to be some work. The work is not something that we've never seen. It's just a lot of work. So I need a lot of room. Okay, the first one that I want to try is A, and this is a linear function. So I'm going to just go out far enough to get one consecutive difference. And I'm going to do this for 3 values only. I think that will be enough for us to tell. If not, we'll add one, but I think 3 will be plenty. So there's my input, there's my evaluation, and then that will be for consecutive difference. And these are f of x. So the first one that we're checking is 3x plus 5. And we know this is linear, so we're looking for a first consecutive difference. I'm going to use 0, 1, and 2 for all of these problems and these choices. So the first one, is the y-intercept. 3 times 0, plus 5. So that comes out to be 5. That is the y-intercept. Here's the input and here's the output. Okay, at 1 we get 3 times 1 plus 5. That's going to give us an 8. So again, here's the input, here's the output. And then at 2, I get 3 times 2 plus 5 is 11. And again, input, output. So let's get our consecutive difference. So this will be 8 difference 5 is 3. 11 difference 8 is 3. So this consecutive difference, common consecutive difference, is 3. And the question asks us which one is -6. So it is not A. Okay, let's try B. Again, B is linear. It's first degree. So I'm going to need a very similar table to do this one. Again, I'm going to use those same values. You can pick whichever values you want, but these will be just fine. So I've got an x, I've got f of x is -3x plus 5. And then I didn't leave much room, but I think I can make it work for the consecutive difference. It's first degree, so it will be at the first level. So 0, 1, and 2. And yet again, I drew the extra line. Okay, so -3 times 0 plus 5 is 5. -3 times 1 plus 5 is 2. -3 times 2 plus 5 is -1. So here are the inputs and their respective outputs. And then we have to do consecutive difference. So 2 minus 5 is -3. And then negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. So this is the common consecutive difference is negative 3. And that is not what you and I are looking for. We're getting there. It's just kind of slow going. Okay, option C is a quadratic equation. So I'm going to need to go a little bit further with my lines. And I'm going to test those three values again. So I need to put a space for inputs, a space for the function. We have to do the first consecutive difference to get the second one. So we have x, f of x, and this is option C, is 3x squared plus 5. This will be the first consecutive difference, and this is the second one. And I'm using the same input values. So 3 times 0 squared plus 5 is 5. That y-intercept is not going to change in any of them because the y-intercept won't change. Alright, so 3 times 1 squared plus 5 is 8. And then 3 times 2 squared plus 5, that would be 12 plus 5 is 17. So this one would be an 8 difference 5, and this would be a 17 difference 8. And we knew it wouldn't be common there because it's not linear. So there is no common difference here. And we don't need all of these. We can just look at that one. So we're going to say 9 difference 3 is 6. So the common consecutive difference is a 6. We need a negative 6. So we're getting closer, but not quite. Alright, let's try out function D. Again, I'm going to, let me highlight my inputs and outputs. When I get this many numbers on a page, I get a little bit crossed up, so I use highlighters a lot. But you certainly don't have to. Alright, I'm going to use the same values, so I want 4 lines. We're going to do our input, our function, our first consecutive, and then our second consecutive difference. So x's, 0, 1s, and 2's, f of x, this time is 3x squared plus 8x plus 5. So I need to zoom in here. 3 times 0 squared plus 8 times 0 plus 5 is 5. 3 times 1 squared plus 8 times 1 plus 5 is 16. Wait a minute, something's wrong. 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 5. Okay, that's good. And then 3 times 2 squared plus 8 times 2 plus 5 is going to be 33. So the first consecutive differences will be 16 difference 5 and 33 difference 16. Something isn't right here. What have I done wrong? 3 plus 8 is 11, plus 5 is 16, and then 12 plus 16 plus 5. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm thinking, but something just doesn't feel right to me. Sometimes though I think that and I don't have my calculator up here, so hopefully we're okay. And so this consecutive difference is 6. So this is not the one we're looking for. Again, we are looking for negative 6. Okay, so that's not it. And if you want to go ahead and label, the common consecutive difference is 6. And guys, I still don't feel good about that one. But I don't see, and I didn't do enough points to really tell. This is a good example of why I probably do need one more. But I'm going to go with my gut on this one and just leave it be and hope it is okay. So 1 and 2 outputs were 5, 16, and 33. And then the common consecutive difference is not what we need. All right, last one, and hopefully this is it, because if not, I've got a problem. It is quadratic, so I'm going to use a little bit longer table. Same values. You can use whatever values you want. It's really not going to matter, but I like to keep it consistent. Here's my function. There's the space for the first and second differences. And I'll have to refer back up there to get my function. This is e. Negative 3x squared minus 14x plus 5. This one looks promising. Okay, so 0, 1, and 2. Again, I know that y-intercept is not going to change, but let's just go ahead and prove it. Minus 14 times 0 plus 5 is 5. Then negative 3 times 1 squared minus 14 times 1 plus 5. That is going to be a negative 3, a negative 14 plus 5. So I'm thinking a negative 12. And then negative 3 times 2 squared, that's 4, minus 14 times 2 plus 5. So that's a negative 12, a negative 28, and then plus 5. Do that on your calculator if you need to. All right, so this first one will be negative 12 difference 5, negative 17. Then negative 35 difference negative 12. That's going to be a negative 23. So not common here, but we knew that because it's quadratic. So let's find this difference right here, and that should be what we're looking for. So negative 23 difference negative 17. And finally, I get a common consecutive difference of negative 6. So that last function is the one, you know it will be. If they're making us do all this work, they're looking for something, they're looking for work. So if you get this one on the high set and you don't have time, just make a guess and keep going. It's okay. But the answer that we are looking for is E, as in elephant. And there's the work to back that up.